Okay, this is part 2. I said we would meet again. Same bowl, part 1, I did the outside. Okay, I went ahead, turned down, this is where I usually stop, is 3/4 of the way down or so. I'm not worried about any of the other tear out. This is just to demonstrate how I use this on the bottom of a bowl. Okay, I've sharpened it, hair over 3 inches from the rest. The rest is raised high enough that I've got my 2 degrees or so downward. Actually, it's probably just a hair more than 2 degrees. Now I don't, this bowl's 6 inches approximately, yeah, maybe almost 6. Okay, I tend to turn pretty fast, so to me it gives a smoother cut. I have less catches when I'm turning fast. So we'll see. This belt, this link belt, is a little noisy on this lathe, but I'll try and make myself heard. I've never been accused of being a whisperer anyhow. All it takes is a light touch. It's not like I'm trying to murder my neighbor or anything, just lightly. I tend to have my hand near the barrel. The handle is underneath my arm. Much steadier, easier to control. I have my fingers on top of the tool to make sure it stays flat on the rest. This is a soft piece of maple, notorious for not being easy to cut. Now see, that's from 3 inches away. I'm getting a little more vibration than I normally would. Probably do the same with this tool, which I'm quite familiar with. Yeah, it does the same thing. But there's very little pressure. I'm not feeling pressure on my arm at all. So see, it's a sign that it's cutting smoothly at the right spot. I drilled my depth hole so I don't make any funnels. I haven't joined that club yet and don't intend to. Yeah, see, that's further out than I normally would use it, but I guess you could say I'm making a point. The tool is not in danger of being snapped off. One thing I've noticed, I need to put a little more curve on the end of this blade. It's not quite making the curve like they usually do. Which I've got a cure for that too. Though it won't reach that far out. So, sorting. Again, as thick as it is, I could actually lower the rest. Okay. Let's see if I was in closer, which I will do here shortly. Okay. I like my rest to be squared up to the face of the bowl when I'm using these. Okay. That's about right. All the way up. Yeah, it needs a little more curve. It's just like when you're doing it at an angle on the outside. You want to produce fine shavings and dust. You're not trying to throw shavings all over the shop. That's not the purpose here. You've already hogged out all the wood. This is just getting it down close. Nothing but dust coming off the tip there. This is why the possibility of a catch is small. Now this is a Craftsman. I forget exactly what that tool was when I got it. Now this has been converted to negative rake and it's been given a grind that I like for doing inside of bowls. Again, this is just shear scraping. Same as you would do with one of the big ones. By having it angled down, you've turned it into a negative rake. Okay? This is already a negative rake. I do not use it flat on the rest, or not straight in. They tell you can go straight in with a negative rake. No, you won't get a decent cut. It ain't gonna work. Tilt it down just like you would any other tool when you're working on the inside. Very light cut. Oh yes. Much less. That'll come off. Oh, that's a 180. That's going to get started at 180. But as you can see, it didn't snap off. This is my preferred distance. Where's my ruler? Okay. That's 2 inches past the rest. That's where I usually prefer to be, is 2 inches. Maybe a little more. I've been doing a lot of smaller bowls to where I can get in a lot closer. But this one I've done 5-inch and more deep bowls. This is why your odds of breaking a tool, whether it's a skew, okay, I have one here, it's a Sorby. It's also got an angled, beveled, it's curved tip. It's sharpened at 15 degrees to a side. I use it a lot for stuff like this. Again, it's 1/4 inch thick. It's being held at about a 2-degree down angle. All it produces is dust. I'm not giving it a whole lot of time, but it will smooth that right out and make it very ready for a finer grit sanding. I can even use these for this job. You see, I'm pushing a little too hard when it does that. I'm only supposed to be skimming it. Just dust and some fine shaving. I mean, we're talking stuff that's not as thick as the human hair. It takes a little while. Boy, that's nice and smooth. Ooh, jeez. Maybe I should shave with that tomorrow morning. It takes some time to get the feel for it. Don't run right out and grab one of these and go, you know what? I'm going to work on the hardest piece of Osage orange or iron bark I can get my hands on. No. Start out this soft maple. This is going to be the wife's next cereal bowl. Mulberry's not too bad. Cherry, even walnut. They're not really that hard of a wood to where you could practice light cuts. And like I said, with these shear scrapers, we all develop our own preferences. Okay, now the edge on this one is not curved enough for me. I keep catching this corner, which I'm going to be taking a notch out of there anyhow, as I said in my previous video, but it still would be a problem. So I need to get more curve, more like this one. Then take my notch out so that I can use it like I want to. But it didn't break. This is hardened steel. See, it doesn't ring. It's made to take shocks. It's made to have some give to it, yet still remain very sharp. The guy at the mower shop was telling me that some of these mowers come in after 100 hours of commercial use cutting grass, and they barely have to touch the cutting edge of the blade up. They're starting to come out with some new blade material. Some of it they've even experimented with having tungsten carbide added to the mix. A lot of it is very similar to almost like a soft cored tool steel. The core is soft to take the shock. The outer edge is hard and able to hold a sharp edge for a long time, much like a Japanese katana. They're made to have some flexibility so they don't break as they cut through bone. Isn't that a jolly thought? And the hole does come in handy because I do hang it up right there above the lathe. The rest I have to stick in holes and tool holders. But yeah, it works. It doesn't break as long as you do your part. Now, I'm not saying I couldn't break it if I really wanted to. It would probably, if anything, it would break at the tang. I don't think it'd break at the hole. It would break at the tang. I could really jam it in there and pretend I was killing Godzilla or something, and I could probably snap the tang off because it's 1/2 inch wide, 7/32 of an inch thick. So yeah, it would probably break the tang, but it's not going to break the tool. No. So yeah, I'm not saying everybody has to go out and make one now. It's not, you know. All I did was make a post that yes, this is my new tool. This is what I'm working with. Yeah, I do that a lot. I've got other tools I've posted. This is for drilling my depth hole. I don't know if you can see it all right there or not. Took an old Crown 2 handle, put a keyless chuck on it, and I used this with my drill for drilling in and doing my depth holes. I also have a couple that just have wooden handles put on them, various sizes. These are the small 1/4 inch one I use on my small little bowls. You don't want to get carried away and drill a hole to China. This one, if I'm dealing with a fairly soft wood, green wood, this one works really good. And I can just hold it in one hand and drill my holes. I do this a lot. And it's, you know, do I lack for tools? No, I do not lack for tools. Matter of fact, I'm running out of room for tools. As an example, let me get the camera off its mount. Oh yeah, lock. Okay, let's not get seasick here, I hope. I'm gonna widen my view out here. Oh, it's all right. Wait a minute, it can't be widened out. Yeah, it is. No, it ain't. There, that's like it. Okay, back up a bit. I've got that whole rack full. I've got my monster up there, the new tool. I've got some special use stuff here made out of Craftsman tools, marbles, whatever. They lay there because I have no other place to put them. I have hollowing tools there, carbide and other. Shear scraper, Sorby scraper. And over here I've got my 2 super long, let's see if I can get them in here, 2 super long gouges. I have a Crown 1/2 inch. It's the one with the T on it. I've got an extra long handle on it. This one here on the end is a Kelton undercutter tool for doing hollowing. It works really great on up to 6-inch deep pieces. A 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch square scraper, square nose scraper, goes 9 inches deep. So yeah, I don't lack for tools. I got some, I don't know, there's a straight carbide there, and there's a Swan tool I made. It's got a handle on it for controlling the twist in the tool as you're trying to cut. Yeah, so not like I don't have tools. I buy tools. I also like making tools, especially if it's a specialty tool. So yeah, it's something I like to do. I know a lot of guys do. They like making their own tools. I guess so you can just say, because I did it. And it suits my purpose. It feels good to my hand. So I don't take chances. I do my research. I talk to people, just like the mower guy I got the blades from. We talked about it. I told him what I was going to do with the tool. We discussed different mower blades, different properties. I tested the tool before I ever cut it out. I was beating on it, bending on, you know, trying to bend it, tried to fracture it. I couldn't do any damage to it, which I didn't think I would anyhow, because blades are made to do that. They're made to take the abuse. Otherwise, you wouldn't get very far mowing your grass the first time you hit a rock or a piece of metal somebody threw in your yard. If you're lucky enough people don't do that to you, well then I'm glad you live in such a neighborhood around here. Who knows what I'm going to run into if I mow grass. That's why I now hire a guy with a 60-inch mower deck who's got the blades to do it. My little 22-inch cut one's got those soft blades, and I've bent more than one of them on a rock. So I'll let the big boys do it. But yeah, that's all it takes. Light touch. If you can get in real close and still keep the tool flat, not at an angle, because then you're starting to get into scary territory. If you have the rest angled in, let's say a 45 degree, and you lay a scraper flat on there, it's no longer cutting flat to the wood. You've now turned it into a imitation shear scraper. The corner can dig in very easily and cause a bad catch. You want your rest squared up when you're using these type of shear scrapers. You want the rest squared up, tool flat, light touch, and just take sweeping passes. Don't try and jab it in and take out a bunch of wood, you know, this ain't a gouge. Take sweeping cuts, very light sweeping cuts, and it will just peel the wood right off the bottom. You're talking on a face grain like this, you're basically turning face grain. It's going to cut easily. Just take your time and practice. Now I'll go back to making another tool. Good night.